Well, welcome to Coral Expeditions Kimberley webinar. My name's Gabby, I'm from the sales team. So for anyone that joined in late, we are recording today's webinar. Just from now, we'll start. And if you have missed any of it or you have to sign out a bit earlier, we will send a recorded version to you after today. All right, so obviously today's focus is taking you on a journey of coral expeditions. I'm going to give you an insight of the Kimberley's vast and rugged coastline, which has been shaped by the powerful forces of nature. And I was lucky to go there myself in May this year. So I'm going to tell you all about my experience a little bit later on, but I'm going to try the video round 2 and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Again, we are recording today. So if for some reason you can't see the video, because I know with some devices it plays up, you will get the recorded version to watch back. All right, let's get started. Wow, so that's just 2 minutes of what you can experience on one of our 10-night Kimberley voyages. So you can really see why the Kimberley is a bucket list. It's a trip of a lifetime experience, which is going to leave you for fantastic memories you'll have forever. So in the 90s, Coral Expeditions, we completed our first Kimberley voyage, the first ever expedition cruise operator to explore the region. So we have now been operating for 40 years. We're celebrating our 40-year anniversary this year, which is exciting. But for 40 of those years, 30 of our 40 years, we have been exploring the Kimberley. So being one of the original Australian flagged expedition pioneers, this has really allowed us to curate the perfect expedition cruise the Kimberley has to offer. We have expert guides and crew. They love sharing their expansive knowledge and passion for the region, and they have many years of experience and stories. They still to this day say that never any trip is the same. So in the Kimberley, being so vast and rugged and remote, knowledge and experience, it's really everything given the huge tidal flows and the remoteness. So warm Australian hospitality, that's what you can expect on a cruise with us. All of our vessels, they are Australian flagged, which means we spend more time in the Kimberley. So we don't have to take your valuable time travelling out into international waters, and we can focus on the destination itself. We have the best local knowledge, and we have an all Aussie and New Zealand crew as well. So you get to really experience that ultimate warm Australian hospitality throughout your voyage. And whether this is enjoying a nice cold drink, as you can see in that image there on Veranda Beach, sand between your toes on one of our sunset drinks, or it might be on board. So on board our vessels, where we encourage a natural Australian style service and an open interaction between our guests and our crew. So during the dining service, we will encourage our crew, our expedition leaders and guest lecturers to dine with you. You can pick their brains on their knowledge, or it might be one where you can watch your dinner being prepared in our open galleys by our chefs, or head up to the bridge and then meet the captain, the master up there, have a chat with the crew. A lot of people like to go up in the morning and get the plans for the day, have their coffee, their morning coffee with the captain, which is quite cool. We do engineer tours as well, and of the engine room, and they're also fantastic as well. So we have 3 purpose-built expedition ships. So our 3 Australian flag ships, they have been designed for subtropical climates. They're designed for the Kimberley region. They all feature wraparound decks and private balconies on some of our staterooms. There's plenty of outdoor dining and alfresco areas, so you can enjoy the famous Kimberley sunsets. I've never seen so many amazing sunsets in my life. And the shallow drafts and high movability, it is basically allowing our ships to get you closer on coastal adventures, enjoy the Kimberley coastline, and explore the sheltered bays and hidden inlets that are inaccessible to larger ships. So Coral Discoverer. Coral Discoverer is our smallest vessel, so 72 passengers on this one, 36 staterooms. Coral Discoverer, we like to call it our yacht-like vessel, is a favourite with a lot of our Explorer Club members that have been travelling with us over the 40 years. So you get that nice intimate feel on board. Coral Discoverer is domestic bound as well. So when not in the Kimberley, she heads up to Cape York and Arnhem Land in the Torres Strait, Great Barrier Reef, as well as Tassie each year as well. Now, Coral Adventurer can take 120 passengers and 60 staterooms. So one of our newer vessels started operating 2019. Very similar design across all 3 of our ships. All the rooms are outward facing. They all have beautiful outdoor alfresco areas and plenty of seating areas around the ship to enjoy a book and those sunsets. So outside the Kimberley season, she heads up to Papua New Guinea, Japan and the Philippines, and other parts of West Coast Australia as well. And this is Coral Geographer, which is very similar to Adventurer, as I'm sure you can see. So sister ships to each other. That's why they look so similar. However, Geographer was delivered to us in March 2021, so our newest ship to the fleet, but also has 120 passengers and 60 staterooms. Again, all the rooms are outward facing, some having balconies and beautiful suites as well on the bridge deck. So with our rooms, they are all set up for twin use, but we do have the option for sole use travel as well. So you just need to contact our reservations team to inquire about sole use travel, and they can give you a quote and more information on that, or contact your preferred travel agent as well. So as I said, all our ships, just to round it up, they're all Australian flagged, so we can spend your valuable time staying in the Kimberley, focusing on the destination and not having lots of sea days. And they are purpose built for expeditioning and subtropical climates. So the Kimberley is a great place to take all 3 of our ships every season. Now, these are our explorers, or we like to call them the safari jeeps of the sea. So these have actually been purpose built. They're our trademark tenders, and they're designed for our shore excursions. So our shore excursions are included. We try and aim for 2 excursions every day, but we operate them on these tenders. So how they work is they're actually loaded onto the aft, the back of the ship, and you just walk straight out just across a ramp, very easy, onto the tenders from the back deck. Grab a seat on one of the comfortable seats. They are all open views as well, so it doesn't matter where you sit, but basically then they'll be lowered down to the water on a hydraulic launch mechanism, and then you're off under 5 minutes. It's really unbelievable. So super comfortable. As I said, all open views. There are clears as well that come down the side, so if you do run into some rainy weather, we can close those off and you still get a great view. There is a toilet on board as well for remote convenience. And then they are decked out with a full audio system. So you don't miss out on anything the expedition team are having to say, and you get all that commentary along the way. And then what I thought was the most important thing was the roof. So I don't like being out in the sun too much, but the roof completely protects you from the sun, and especially in the Kimberley, it can get quite warm as well. And yeah, you're not exposed out like you are on the Zodiacs. So the Zodiacs is another option we do use for our shore excursions. I'll touch base on them next, but the Explorers are predominantly what we use. It's a lot more comfortable. When you do get to a beach landing, like you can see in the image, you might come across a wet or dry landing. So very easy, again, a ramp that comes off the front. And we do recommend some footwear that you don't mind getting wet, whether it's Tiva sandals or your Keens or reef shoes, anything like that. Otherwise, you can take your walking shoes, your joggers or your hiking boots, whatever you feel comfortable in. Just keep in mind, you might have to just take them off and pop them back on once you get to your destination. Now, these are our Zodiacs. So as I mentioned, we do use these for our shore excursions as well. So on your Kimberley trip, you will mainly use these just to get up a bit closer. And you can see perfect image in there. You're getting nice and close to some of the friendly wildlife in the Kimberley. But we'll use these at horizontal falls, which is incredibly fun. And then also the Lassipede Islands as well. And that's just, again, getting you up close to nature. You'll have turtles swimming all around you, but you still get a fantastic view in the Explorers if you don't feel comfortable going into the Zodiacs. But the crew are really helpful. They'll do a monkey grip with you, and it will be a matter of a 3-step down into the Zodiacs. So very easy to get on and off if you're a bit concerned about that as well. Horizontal falls I'll talk about a bit shortly as well. So guest lecturers are on board. So Coral Expeditions, we were one of the first cruise operators to employ interpretive guides on our cruises. It is a tradition that we still continue today. So each trip, it includes a mix of our full-time guest lecturers who join the expedition team, and then we've got special guest lecturers who are chosen for their specific knowledge. So whether it's geology or marine biology, anything like that, that's based on the voyage that you're going on. So they're there to immerse our guests on the unique wildlife environments we visit, the communities and the culture we're visiting. And then that's really what expedition cruising is about, learning and educational experiences. So accompanying our guest lecturers, we have our expert guides. So having guided expeditions in the region for over 3 decades now, we sure know a lot of the nooks and crannies that a lot of other operators don't in the Kimberley. And our expedition team, they're there to provide their local expertise with a strong understanding of all the landscapes you're visiting, the flora and fauna, the Indigenous cultures of the region, hand in hand with our guest lecturers. So our passionate expedition leaders, they're on board. They take you on every excursion. So we don't hand you over to land-based tour companies. We're with you along the way. And we're focusing on more time ashore, as I said, with 2 shore excursions daily where possible. So the shore excursions will usually have a couple of options. We cater for everybody. So basically it could be just a scenic cruise, or you might be doing a walk to a rock art gallery. Now on the Kimberley, there's not a whole lot of walking. Okay, so the most that you'll probably walk is 1 to 2 kilometres. I would recommend that you bring some walking poles. They are just a good way to keep you a bit more balanced, because especially going to the rock art galleries, there's a bit of uneven terrain, and there'll be a lot of beach landings as well. So on the sand, it can be a little bit wobbly. So definitely bring your walking poles if you've got some of those. But yeah, there's always something for everyone. If you're not feeling up for the 1 to 2 kilometre walk, then you could just do some beach combing, or stay on the Explorer and go for a nice ocean cruise with the team. All right. So before I go over the icons with you, I just wanted to show you this video, which is from Jamie Anderson. So Jamie Anderson is one of our longest serving expedition leaders. He has been working with the company for over 20 years now, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, I just think it's a really nice video to see what his thoughts are on the Kimberley for someone that's been traveling there for so long. So I hope you enjoy this video as much as I do.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jamie, your expedition leader, giving you the final call. You'll need hat, sunscreen, water, as it will be warm. Optional footwear, folks. Thank you. I'm James Anderson, mostly called Jamie, and I've been in this role for around 17 years with the company. Back in 2002, I was teaching, and I was asked by a friend of mine if I was interested in doing a job. I was fed up with teaching, and so I said, I'll give it a go. He put me on the Kimberley run for the first time. People travelling the Kimberley will see a massive diversification of not only animals and plants, but also the rock systems. Geology is huge in the Kimberley due to its age. It is the most remote wilderness area left in Australia, really. And luckily, it's still like that. It's not overrun yet. More and more vessels are coming in, but at the same time, when it comes down to it, there's still plenty of places you can go without seeing anybody. The remoteness makes it one of the most magnificent trips around. You can't get bored anywhere that we go. Everything's new. The weather changes, the light changes. You've also got the marine side of things. These are with the whales and dolphin. Also going up into river systems that nobody else goes into. It is the most unique reef in the world. It comes out of water, exposes itself twice a day, and it depends on the tidal level as to how much of the reef is exposed. So what we've seen on our cruise this particular trip has been just extraordinary. The Indigenous populations, there are three different groups that we go through. We go through the Wunabal Gambara people, we go through the Warra country, and we go through the Bardi country. They departed basically in 1942, and so we're lucky to go through those particular different areas, and it's nice if we can see them along the way.
Great. So, as I said, Jamie's overview is quite fascinating, and it's good to hear that no matter how many times you go to the Kimberley, you're always seeing something different. No trip's ever the same. So we'll start on our Kimberley cruises now, which we actually have 3 different itineraries to the Kimberley. So our main one is the Kimberley cruise, which is 10 nights between Darwin and Broome. It does depart April through to September, and on board all 3 of our vessels. So as I said, all of our 3 ships go there every year, right through April to September. We also have the Best of the Kimberley and the Tiwi Islands. So it's another 10-night Kimberley voyage. However, this one is more of an art and culture themed itinerary. Very similar itinerary to the 10-night Kimberley cruise, covering all your main icons in the region. However, this itinerary is more focused on the arts and cultures of the Kimberley and the Tiwi Islands regions. So there will be opportunities to visit art centres where you can purchase traditional and contemporary art directly from the source, as well as hand-selected guest lecturers who are based on their knowledge, and they'll share their stories and the cultures and traditions of the local communities along the way. So really this one's like an added bonus. You're getting a bit of that art and culture side of things as well. So this one departs August and September, and on board Coral Discoverer, which was our smaller vessel, 72 passengers. And then our third itinerary is the Kimberley Icons, Ashmore and the Rolly Shoals. So 12 nights, so 2 extra nights you get on this one, again departing from Darwin or Broome, and departs in September only. So this one will either be on board Coral Geographer or Coral Adventurer. And this one's basically combining our classic 10-night Kimberley itinerary, but you also get a visit to the spectacular Rolly Shoals Marine Park and Ashmore Reef as well. So you get that snorkeling aspect. So it'll give you the opportunity to snorkel or dive. Diving is an additional cost. And you'll be able to snorkel at some of the world's best marine parks, which are home to many, many species of coral and fish. And many of them are actually not found on any other coral reefs. So that's just another option for you as well. All right. So we're going to run through the main icons that you'll see across all 3 of our trips. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my experience when I was on board. So this is King George Falls. So King George Falls, or Amari Falls, it's Western Australia's highest twin waterfalls. And a visit to these falls, it's one of the highlights, I think. So you'll either start with this or finish with it on your trip, depending which direction you go. So before we reach the falls, which are absolutely stunning, you get to enjoy a beautiful scenic cruise on our Explorer tenders up King George River, which is quite long. So you get a nice comfortable cruise, and you'll just be mesmerised. I was lucky enough to do it at sunrise, so it will just depend on your trip, what time you got there. But the beautiful sun reflection of the sandstone cliffs, just the colours are stunning. They frame the river. You can get some beautiful photos along the way. But once you reach the falls, and you've got the falls there, as I said, framed by the beautiful orange cliffs, you will, if you want to, transfer into our Zodiacs, which have followed us up along the river. And you can transfer into the Zodiacs, get up even closer than you can in the Explorers, get some photos. If you want to have a Kimberley shower, which is famous, I'll have a few of those images along the way. But there's plenty of opportunities for Kimberley showers, so you can get right up under the falls and get completely soaked. Or if you're not such of a daredevil and you don't want to get soaking wet, you can just hang back and they'll just do a cruise up close and keep you out from under the direct waterfall coming down. But definitely, if you're a bit of an enthusiast and adventurer, it was so much fun, and everyone was laughing and I think crying in tears from laughter. It was so much fun. So yeah, do it. Take a waterproof camera if you've got one, or a cover as well, so then you can take some photos or videos under the falls. But we do also have our expedition team that will be cruising around on the Explorer, and they'll be getting shots of you as well, getting up and close, having your Kimberley shower. So pack your swimmers. All right, so Vansittart Bay, beautiful. So the Kimberley, it's a great place to view multiple rock art galleries, including Jar Island rock galleries, where we got to view the Geon rock art. So there's walking options that ranged from easy, medium to hard. So everybody was able to experience this incredible artwork and learn the stories. It was so mind-blowing to learn the stories behind the art creations and be able to see it in real life. I thought was an amazing privilege. It's yeah, you can't explain it until you're there. It's just truly incredible. But in the afternoon, after visiting the artwork, we headed out on the Explorer to Anjo Peninsula, where we got to explore the C-53 plane wreck, which is the image you can see there on the right. And Quinton, who was our guest lecturer, he educated us on the remarkable survival story of the US Air Force, but I won't fill you in too much. You can find this out on your trip. And whilst we were here, we were able to stretch our legs and explore the surrounding salt flats, searching for bees and birds and crabs, wildflowers, boab trees, the whole lot. So it's nice to be able to stretch your legs and get that opportunity to have a little bit of an explore. And we will have all our guest lecturers and expedition team there, so you can split up into little groups and have a look around at different things. But this will probably be the longest walk that you'll do, which is, yeah, no longer than probably 1.5 kilometres. And then to finish up another amazing day on our way back to Coral Discoverer, we were surrounded by dolphins. So basically our short trip back to the Coral Discoverer ended up being our Explorer turned into a dolphin cruise. So it was a lovely surprise, and that's really what expedition cruising is about. We weren't on a deadline to try and get back to the ship. We're able to cruise around and take some beautiful videos and photos of the dolphins coming to say hi. All right, so Mitchell Falls. Now, Mitchell Falls is beautiful, and this is an optional extra. So you do need a helicopter to get to Mitchell Falls. So you don't need to pre-book this. You can actually decide once you're on the ship. They'll give you a briefing about what's involved. It is approximately $695 per person. As I said, doesn't need to be pre-booked. You can do this on the ship, but if I could say anything, do it. I mean, seeing it by air is truly incredible. It is doors off as well, so it adds to the adventure. It was really fun. Now take with your camera or your phone a lanyard to put around your neck because it is doors off and it gets very windy. So make sure you've got something to hold on to your camera. But the flight's approximately 20 minutes each way. And as I said, doors off, or there's a seat up next to the pilot, and that will have its door on. But you can talk with your group. There's only about 4 passengers in each helicopter. But basically, you'll get your scenic 20-minute flight. You'll land at the top of the falls, and you'll have about an hour or so at the falls. You can do a short walk up there you can see where that gentleman's standing in the photo to get some great shots. And then you'll usually have time for a nice refreshing dip as well. So don't need to pre-book again. Book it once you're on board. Have a chat with the team once you're on there as well if you've got any questions. But that was one of my biggest highlights among many. It's hard to pick one. And same with the guests on board. So yeah, optional extra, don't have to do it. All right, now this is Process Creek, which is really beautiful. So for those that don't opt to do the helicopter, you will most likely get to enjoy a cruise up Process Creek to spot wildlife. And Process Creek is located in Prince Frederick Harbour, which is one of the Kimberley's most spectacular locations among many others. But the harbour's dotted with islands lined with mangroves and monsoon rainforests. And that was something that I thought was really interesting. I never expected the Kimberley to have rainforests. So make sure you pack your binoculars as well. The mangroves, they're perfect hiding spot for crocodiles and bird life. We saw a little baby crocodile, which was really cute, and I never ever in a million years would have spotted it, but it was just perched up on a mangrove in the water. So most of the time our guest lecturers are pretty keen photographers, so they had a great shot, and they'll share that with you after the voyage as well. There's white-bellied sea eagles, other birds of prey often seen here as well. And at low tide, you'll get expansive mud flats that are revealed, and that will reveal large populations of mud skippers and mangrove crabs. And as we aim for 2 shore excursions a day, if you do the helicopter and you miss out on the morning cruise, then you can do it in the afternoon and vice versa. And then you'll get the different tide times as well. So even if you do the cruise twice, you'll see completely different things from the morning to the afternoon. All right, and this is King Cascade, so another Kimberley shower. So King Cascade is reached via Prince Regent River, where you will join another leisurely cruise in the Explorers, and it's also a good opportunity to spot bird life and hopefully some crocodiles as well. We were lucky enough to have a crocodile greet us as we entered the Cascades, so definitely no swimming here. But it is a beautiful terrace waterfall that's one of the most photographed in the Kimberley. You've probably seen a few images of this before, and it looks like a vertical garden almost, but the explorers will nose into the Cascades, and then that will give everyone a chance to have a Kimberley shower. Keeping in mind, we do have showers on board if anyone's wondering as well, so it's not your only opportunity for a shower. All right, and this is Careening Bay. So it's a significant site in the early history of Australia, basically. Philip Parker King, he named nearby Careening Bay after he beached his leaking vessel HMSC Mermaid to do repairs. And then while stranded on this remote coastline for 17 days, the ship's carpenter carved HMC Mermaid 1820 into the bottle-shaped trunk of a boab tree, which is this one you can see in the image. And 200 years later, the boab tree has since split into 2 and is about 12 metres wide now. So it's really big. And when you get there, you'll go, oh my God, this is amazing. So there's also a nice beach walk that you can do near the backwater, which is a great opportunity, again, to stretch your legs, probably about a kilometre walk at the most. And we were lucky enough to view a local bowerbird nest as well before returning to the ship. And I believe it's a resident bowerbird there. So hopefully you might be able to see that on your trip as well. So Montgomery Reef, or as we all call it, Monty Reef. So Montgomery Falls, they appear twice a day as the sea resides in a massive 11-metre tide. But we set our alarms very early for this and headed off at dawn to witness the reef emerging at sunrise. So it just depends on the tide times, obviously, when you go here. But as the tide falls, Monty Reef rises up from the ocean, and then you'll get the cascades of rushing water revealing a flat top reef. And you will cruise along the inlet in the Explorer, which you can see in the image there. And that's an opportunity for, if you want to get even closer, to transfer into our Zodiacs as well. And then you can go right up to the little inlets that come off the reef. And a great opportunity to get up close with wildlife as well. So the bird life especially, so taking advantage of the emerging reef, they're feeding on marine life in the exposed rock pools on top. The water was super clear as well, so you will see a lot of marine life too. So part of our Kimberley cruise has been enjoying sunset drinks on a remote beach location. You did see the image of Veranda Beach earlier in the webinar. Depending on the tides, though, during your voyage, you may get to enjoy sunset drinks on a nearby sand cay overlooking Monty Reef, which is where we had ours. And it was so much fun. The guests were having so much fun that they didn't want to leave. And we all ended up putting on some music, staying a bit longer as the sun went down, and dancing into the night, with enjoying some ABBA and champagne on the beach, which is a really beautiful memory. And I think no matter how old you were, all the guests just loved that. It was a main highlight of the trip. Great way to finish off another amazing day too. All right, horizontal falls. So I'm sure you've all heard of horizontal falls. It's honestly one of the best things I've ever done. It was so much fun. Even just to witness the faces of all of our beautiful guests coming back from their adventures through the falls, it was really uplifting, and the whole ship was all buzzing on adrenaline. Everyone will stand usually on the back of the ship and watch everyone head off and wave them goodbye and welcome them back as well. Yeah, but it was so amazing. One of our eldest guests on board, she was in her late 80s. Her trip had been postponed for a couple of years due to COVID. She finally got out there, and she was a bit hesitant about going through the falls, and she was just loving it. When she got back, she was fist pumping the air, and you just couldn't get the smile off her face. So you'll go through in the Zodiacs, as you can see in the image here, with our expedition team. But we'll have a safety boat, which is just off to the side, and they're also there taking photos of you as well as you go in and out. So you don't have to worry about taking your camera with you. You can just hold on. Now as well, we are just anchored not far the ship, so it's only about a 5-minute, not even, to get to the horizontal falls. But yeah, you'll put your name down on a list, and you can pick if you want more of like an adrenaline rush, or you want more of a gentle cruise, because it has such a wide tidal flow coming through it, and basically it's not always so adventurous. You can have more of a gentle cruise through there. So talk to the team on board if you're concerned about this, but I never felt more safe. The team were absolutely awesome, gave a great, clear safety briefing, and yeah, it was so much fun. And yeah, hopefully you might even get the opportunity to go through a couple of times as well. But yeah, you can have the adrenaline rush or something that's a bit more gentle. All right. So the next one is Nares Point. So Nares Point, it's a great example of many of the incredible rock formations that you'll witness throughout the Kimberley voyage. But to get to Nares Point, you'll enjoy a beautiful cruise through whirlpool tides, and you'll get to learn the stories of the sailors and their challenges over the years that were navigating these extreme tides of the Kimberley. But yeah, there's basically beautiful beach nearby to Nares Point where you can beachcomb, search for little microbats in the cave there. We got to see little quoll footprints and some beautiful native flowers and bees in the area as well. And this is the Lassipede Islands. So it can be a little bit tricky to get here. So it's always subject to weather and tides, whether we visit the Lassipede Islands. So the Low Islands are a nature reserve and an important bird area. As you can see in the image there, plenty of birds. So it supports up to 18,000 breeding pairs of brown boobies, as well as a significant breeding area for the green sea turtles. There were so many green sea turtles. So whether you're an explorer or you transfer into the zodiacs as well, again, for a closer look, you'll just see so much marine life everywhere. So take your cameras, always have your cameras ready to go. But yeah, you might even get lucky to see a crocodile here. We have seen photos come through of a crocodile eating a deceased turtle. So really, you never know what you're going to see, and that's just all part of being out in the wilderness. So have your cameras ready. So speaking of cameras and wildlife, the Kimberley's definitely not short on wildlife. Plenty of opportunities and to spot white-bellied sea eagles, other birds of prey, always everywhere. During the low tide at Process Creek, as I mentioned earlier, it's home to an abundance of wildlife, crocodiles as well. As I said, we got to see one. Generally, you get pretty lucky to spot one. They frequent the waters, and you'll often find mud skippers and mangrove crabs in the mud flats on low tides. But yeah, we are now into the whale season as well, which is July to October. So this is the best time to sight humpback whales, which migrate to the Kimberley waters. And we've been getting some great reports back and pictures and videos of whale sightings this year. And then other seasons in the Kimberley are the waterfall season, which is generally March to May. However, due to the rain this year, we were still lucky enough to be experiencing the waterfalls well later than May. So you just never really know. And then May to July is generally the dry season when the weather is a bit cooler and the landscape colours are nice and vibrant and green. All right. Got one last video for you, and this will just recap all the icons you can expect to visit on one of our Kimberley voyages and what I've covered today. But it truly is an amazing part of the world. I couldn't believe I'd never been there before, and I can't wait to get back. But we are coming to the end of our webinar now, so I'll play this video. If you do have any questions, now's a good chance to pop them in the chat section. Otherwise, you can always reach out to your travel agent or our res team, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you've got as well. But I'll play this video and then we'll head into some questions. All right. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, perfect. So if you've got any questions, as I said, pop them into the chat section. We'll answer them now. Otherwise, you can see on the screen our reservations contact details. So you've got the email address on there, explore@coralexpeditions.com, or our phone number, 1-800-079-545. Or please reach out to your preferred travel agent and they will be more than happy to answer your questions as well. Okay. So someone has asked, perfect, thanks for your question, if there will be any swimming opportunities. So swimming in the Kimberley, as I mentioned, there's plenty of wildlife spotting opportunities, including crocodiles. So yeah, there'll be opportunities to have those Kimberley showers, as I said, under the falls. But for actual swimming at the beach, generally no, and it would be up to our expedition team whether they thought it was safe. Sometimes, depending on the time of year you go, there might be some little rock pools that are above the tide line, and that might be a safe spot to swim, but it's not guaranteed on our trips. Okay, great question, Sabella. So the explorers, yes. So everybody can go in the explorers at once. Sorry, I can get my words out. So nobody's left behind. So on Coral Discoverer, which was our yacht-like vessel with the 72 passengers, we take everybody on the one explorer, so it can hold 72 guests on board. And then with our two sister ships, Coral Adventurer and Geographer, we have two explorers. So that means, again, we can just take everybody at once. So no one's ever left behind. There's no queues or waiting. We all go together. Okay. All right, and then footwear. So I did touch a little bit on this. So footwear in the Kimberley, we do suggest that you wear something that you don't mind getting wet for those wet or dry beach landings. I wore some Tiva sandals, but a lot of people like to wear the reef shoes that cover your toes, or you can get Keens and things like that. If you feel more comfortable in something closed with ankle support, like your hiking boots or your runners, please feel free to wear those, whatever you feel comfortable in. And if it is going to be a wet landing, you can just quickly pop your shoes off, and then once you're on the beach, pop them back on again. We won't be rushing off, or we'll hang around and wait for you. And then I had a question about the towels as well for when you have the Kimberley showers. So there will be beach towels type of thing that you can take along. The crew will take them for you, so you can dry off before your cruise back. Okay, another great question. Thanks, Jason. So the difference between departing from Darwin versus Broome, there is no difference. Okay, so that's probably one of the biggest questions that we ever get. Should I depart Darwin or Broome? It honestly does not matter, and it doesn't matter what side of the ship your room is on either. So we do most of our steaming at night. Therefore, during the day, you're out and about on a shore excursion. Once you're in the Kimberley as well, which was quite new to me, I didn't realise, you're surrounded by many islands. So half the time you don't even know what the mainland is and which is an island. So you're always surrounded by something. And you've got all those beautiful outdoor areas, all the fresco areas, the sun decks as well. So if you do have a little bit of downtime, most of the time you're on that sun deck lounge and you're reading a book and taking in the beautiful views out there. But whether you start at Darwin or Broome, you're going to start with a highlight or end with a highlight. It doesn't matter. So honestly, any direction, you can't go wrong. Perfect. All right. Well, I think that is all the questions that we've had today. Oh, another great one. And sorry, I did forget to mention that. We are all inclusive. So yes, you will receive, you'll get selected spirits and wine and soft drinks with lunch and dinner as well. Or we do have more of a premium wine package, which you can view on our website. If you prefer that, you can purchase that as well. But yes, all inclusive. And then we have a 24-hour tea and coffee station as well. I myself am a very big coffee snob, and I approve of the coffee, so it's quite good as well. But as I said, if you have any further questions, please reach out to our reservations team. They're based in Cairns Monday to Friday. They'll pick up the phone very quickly or respond to your emails quickly as well. Or reach out to your preferred travel agent. They're always there to help you as well. Thanks for joining today. I'm very sorry about the start. I'm glad we got it all sorted in the end, but we will send a recorded version to you as well, and you'll be able to see all of that again if you missed anything or if you want to share it with friends and family as well. And then jump on our website. You can find any more upcoming webinars on there. We do run them very regularly. So if there's any other voyages you're interested in, check them out, and hopefully we'll see you online again soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.